Hi, I'm Steve Younis. Welcome to your Speeding Bulletin, the Superman news video recapping the events of the week September 25th to October 1st, 2015. Our top news stories this week included George Miller stamps out any chance of directing Man of Steel 2, Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice gets a PG-13 rating, and Entertainment Tonight goes behind the scenes on Supergirl. Let's check out these stories and more in this week's Speeding Bulletin. In movie news, last month a rumour circulated around which stated that George Miller was supposedly in line to direct the solo Superman film, a Man of Steel 2 if you will. Not long after that we heard that any such movie was permanently on hold, and then Zack Snyder claimed he'd had no knowledge of the George Miller rumour but would definitely be open to the idea. Now we hear direct from George Miller, who confirms that he has indeed met with Warner Brothers about directing a DC movie, but the likelihood of it happening anytime soon is slim.
Conversations with Warner Bros. About Zack
There's
Snyder.
been some of that in the mix, but I'd say probably not true. I was going to do a Justice League movie that fell through in 2009.
Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice received a PG-13 rating from the Motion Picture Association of America. The film is said to contain intense sequences of violence and action throughout, and some sensuality. We got this covered.com recently attended an event where Jesse Eisenberg was promoting his new book Brim Gives Me Hiccups, and during the interview he spoke briefly about his role as Lex Luthor in Batman v Superman, heaping praise on screenwriter Chris Terrio and the themes explored in the movie. He said even though it's a superhero movie, people who don't necessarily see films in that genre will probably enjoy it. It discusses some very sophisticated and important themes. It seems we really can't trust anything Michael Shannon says about his involvement in Batman v Superman, with the actor admitting in a new interview with Screen Rant that he simply likes to make up stuff about his role in the movie when people ask him about it.
People ask me a lot about Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
And I really don't have anything to say about it, so sometimes I just make up stuff, which I'm sure Warner Brothers is really happy about.
It was revealed in a recent interview with the Santa Monica Mirror that author Michael Kogue is writing a Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice prequel novel. He said, "It's such a pleasure to be writing Batman and Superman. I've always loved those characters." The novel is scheduled to be released in February 2016. Look to the Sky is a feature-length, not-for-profit documentary film about hope and young heroes who are inspiring us to believe in tomorrow. The film will uncover the beauty, courage and heroism that still burn brightly in the world. The film will tell the uplifting stories of young people who have demonstrated the iconic spirit of Superman. Support the Look to the Sky documentary by going to supermanisreal.com. In TV news, with less than a month to go before the premiere of Supergirl on CBS, the TV network has released a new video introducing the cast members.
She'll be back.
I know the show's called Supergirl, but it's so much more than that. Every character has things they're hiding. They have their own stories, and I'm having so much fun exploring all of them.
Entertainment Tonight went behind the scenes of Supergirl to talk with Melissa Benoist, examine her costume, and visit the sets of the new CBS TV series.
Benoist is already making an impact.
I think that the positive influence that this role has is sort of beyond my comprehension right now. Every time I'm around, especially a little girl, that is like, it just warms my heart.
A new CBS TV spot for Supergirl was released online. This one highlights the cast and the characters that they play.
There is nothing people love more than a hero.
You're Jimmy Olsen, the photographer from the Daily Planet.
Do you think there's any connection between this hero and...
To my friend in blue, saving people's what they're born to do.
To be a superhero, you need a crime. There's a car chase on the 112 freeway.
I could do a car chase. Earth doesn't have just one hero anymore.
In an interview with MTV.com, Mehcad Brooks speaks about playing James Olsen, his character's relationship with Kara and Lucy Lane, and possibly playing the part of the dude in distress. He said, "I don't know a man who could say he's at where he is at without a woman, so I'm okay with that. Go ahead and carry me through the fire, Melissa. Go ahead, girl." Melissa Benoist, the star of Supergirl, has recorded a video in support of Blue Shirt Day, World Day of Bullying Prevention 2015.
I'm asking you to join me on the first Monday of October, this year, October 5th, and wear a blue shirt for Blue Shirt Day, World Day of Bullying Prevention. Please
head to stompoutbullying.org for more details about Blue Shirt Day on October 5th. Fans who like to consume their TV shows digitally on their computer, iPad, iPhone or Apple TV can subscribe to the season pass for Supergirl on iTunes. Episodes will be available the day after they air on CBS, with a trailer, a behind-the-scenes, on-the-set video and the 2015 Comic-Con panel already currently available to watch. The Supergirl Season 1 iTunes HD Pass is now available for $29.99. In comic book news, a new video from DC Entertainment shows Brian Hitch, writer and artist of the new Justice League of America comic book, taking us back through the pages of issue number 1, which came out back in June, to show us the secrets within that we might have missed the first time around.
Oh, look at that, a room full of dead Supermen. Well, actually, originally it was going to be a pile of almost dead Supermen. Then I realised, in fact, what was I going to do with all of these almost dead Supermen when the storyline occurred, because there was then going to be about 60 almost dead Supermen. So I thought, well, actually, I better make sure they're all dead, then they don't have to come back. And then
Newsarama.com published an interview with Superman writer Jean Lewin Yang to discuss the revelations brought about within the pages of both issues number 43 and number 44, especially in regards to Lois Lane, Hoarder_Root, and an upcoming character Superman will interact with. He said, "I've heard it argued before that Superman is only good because he's strong. He can afford these ideals because nothing can truly threaten him because he's the strongest being on Earth. We're going to explore the tie between his goodness and his strength." Comic books we reviewed this week included Injustice Year 4 Chapter 21, which was reviewed by T.A. Hewitt, who said, "The intensity of the story has picked up, but not the quality," and he gave this issue a 1 out of 5. And from last week, T.A. also reviewed Bizarro number 4, giving it a 4 out of 5, saying, "This is the most clever of the installments thus far." Superman comics available this week from September 30th include Injustice Gods Among Us Year 4 Chapter 22 digital comic has been available since September 29th. Grayson Annual number 2 features Superman. Justice League number 44, which is available in a Green Lantern 75th anniversary variant cover. Superman number 44, which is also available in a Green Lantern variant cover. And DC Comics Bombshells Chapter 11 digital comic will be available October 3rd. No bottle is too tough to open when you've got a Superman bottle opener handy. Get yourself a Superman button magnet bottle opener for just $3.99. Or how about a Superman rubber-coated bar blade bottle opener for $8.99? These and other great Superman bottle openers are available from your one-stop Superman shop, the Superman homepage online store at supermanhomepage.com/shop. In other news, girls now have their very own superhero world, DC Superhero Girls, where they can play, watch, read and be inspired to discover their full superpower potential alongside legendary DC Comics female superheroes, including Wonder Woman, Supergirl and Batgirl, in this all-new universe that was created just for them. DC Entertainment and Warner Bros. Consumer Products, in partnership with Mattel, announced this week the activation of many elements to this highly anticipated initiative, including the rollout of the new DCSuperheroGirls.com website. A global rollout of the digitally immersive world will begin later this month. The Art of the Brick DC Comics will have its worldwide premiere on November 21st at the Powerhouse Museum in Sydney, Australia, the exclusive Australian venue for this exhibition. Created by legendary Lego artist Nathan Sawaya, this contemporary art exhibition uses hundreds of thousands of bricks to create large-scale sculptures of the most enduring superheroes and supervillains, from Batman, Superman and Wonder Woman to the Joker and Harley Quinn. The exhibition will be on display at the Powerhouse Museum in Sydney from November 21st to January 31st next year. The Swan King, a new fictional novel by Kevin Green, focuses on the disappearance of a particular piece of comic book history, a Kurt Swan Superman cover, and how it prompts a murder. While the novel may well fit into the mystery genre, its main character isn't a detective, he's a comic book art dealer. The Swan King will be released on February 11th next year. You can pre-order the book now from our online store. Episode 129 of Radio KAL, the monthly podcast of the Superman homepage, is now available to listen to. In this month's show, Scotty and I discuss Michael Shannon's fake flipper hand story, Zack Snyder's reaction to George Miller rumours and Man of Steel 2 talk, Diane Nelson saying there's no connections between TV and film at the DC Universe, Jack Larson passing away, never-before-seen Supergirl footage, the first look at Jenna Dewan Tatum as Lucy Lane, Ido Goldberg as Red Tornado, Glenn Morshower cast as General Sam Lane, a possible new JLA animated series, all the latest Superman comic books, and much, much more. Check it out at supermanhomepage.com/radio. The Superman homepage Super Trivia Quiz has been updated for another month. The 3 questions we're asking you this time around are: what is the name of the Metropolis nightclub Lex Luthor frequented in the TV series Smallville? What is the name of the establishment owned by Bibbo Babowski in the Superman comic books? And what is the name of the musical stage production Superman and Jerry Seinfeld watch in the American Express TV commercial titled A Uniform Used to Mean Something? If you think you know the answers to all 3 questions, head to the website now to submit your entry. That's all the news there was for the week September 25th to October 1st. I'm Steve Younis from supermanhomepage.com.
Great Scott. Great Scott. Great Scott.
Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Great Scott. I'm Scotty V. Thanks for watching. Can everyone just shut the hell up now? Or no? Well, I'll explain what I mean. In Superman 43, Lois Lane was finally shown to have revealed Clark Kent's identity as Superman to the rest of the world. For months now, we've been following the mystery, or many people have dropped out of the mystery, or many people refuse to even look at the mystery once they heard that the end of the mystery was that Lois Lane was going to tell us who Superman really was. From the beginning, I knew, and I had said, and I had hoped, and I had prayed that everyone would follow me along on this journey and would listen to me when I said there would be a reason. It wouldn't be like, well, I'm bitchy, so I'm just going to tell who Superman is, blah, 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 blah. No one was going to do that. The idea was that there was a reason for it. In fact, in dialogue at one point earlier on in the story, Lois says that she and Diana agreed that it needed to be done. I'm not sure where that's going to come in, because the way the story plays out, Lois is alone, watching Clark get tortured by a guy who is saying he's going to reveal his identity to the world and then snuff out all of the people who know his identity or are close to him as Superman or as Clark Kent if he doesn't do everything he says. So, spoiler alert from over a month ago, if Lois didn't do what she did, Superman was supposedly going to have to bend at the will of this identity, this masked thing. And anyway, Superman said, well, I could take you out. And the guy said, well, you could take out this node, because it's apparently some sort of digitized situation where the villain is actually somewhere else, but he's torturing Superman here. He wants Superman to use his flare power, which is something else that other people quit for. A lot of people ran out of the story as soon as they said that Clark was going to be able to flare up suddenly and have a new power. He's already too powered. He's got too much power already. We really need to give him another power. For me, it's always been another day in the life of Superman, another adventure, an ongoing trip through excitement. Now, since the New 52, I can't say I've been jumping up and down about many storylines, but the reason for that is that the writing's just not that good and it's not that compelling. It's still Superman. I still hear people saying, when's Superman going to be Superman again? If you're talking about when's he going to get his powers back, I suppose that's a relevant point, although Clark is still Superman at his core, even if he doesn't wear a supersuit or fly around. Back to the point at hand, Lois reveals his identity before the villain can do it because she wants to empower Superman to be able to do what he needs to do and to not be tortured. She just saw that Clark was depowered for over a day and that his powers have only just started to come back, and Clark's made mention that it's taking longer. He doesn't understand why. So, as a person who just found out who he was and has only known him as Clark all this time, but knows that Superman's this great entity for good in the world, doesn't want to see the guy get tortured. And now, her best friend, even though I don't feel like they've really followed through on that through the however many years it's been since the New 52 launched, is now being tortured and could die or could get really hurt, and he's at the whim of this guy. And she happens to be there, and she says, well, if we do it first, then he's got no power, so I'll just do it, which I guess is skewed logic to an extent, but someone under emotional duress, someone seeing their friend being tortured, someone not knowing how long this guy can take this type of torture because he's been weakened, and not really knowing Superman's full resources anyway. She was never that close to Superman or Clark in the New 52 from what I can tell, and she's in a desperate situation, and she makes a human error, and tells his identity. Does this mean she's a horrible person, a traitor, a bitch, as everybody keeps saying? I say it's not, and I say we finally got the reason, and it makes sense from a human standpoint. The other argument I hear is, story is fine, I just don't like the premise. And mostly, I believe that the reason you don't like the premise is because it's doing away with a long-standing trope of Superman, that he puts on some glasses and no one can recognize who he is. Now, in the Superman movie, Man of Steel, Lois already knows. It's likely that Perry knows, or that he will know. They don't seem to care as much about the identity, and probably because they're trying to say it's not very likely that the same guy that you know in one guise could wear another without a mask covering his entire face or changing his voice, and that you wouldn't know that Clark Kent was Superman. I don't know that they're ever going to fix this, and I think that the people who are most against it, or who most hate the premise, are the people who are worried that we're not going to see Clark Kent / Superman anymore, because now people know who he is, and the whole world does know how he is. I don't know how they reset this without a whole universe revamp, which is a whole other story. But the fact that Lois did what she did for the reason that she did, whether she should have or not, whether Clark is peeved at her or not, she did it to protect her friend and to give him the power that the villain was trying to take away. She had a good reason, even if she was emotionally driven to do it and didn't really make the right choice. Who knows what the right choice would have been. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and remember, always look up in the sky.